Today I am going to take permutations, combinations and probability, synopsis and formulae. So let us start with what is the definition of permutation, combination. Before that, we will discuss some points. So if n is a positive integer, the value of factorial we call as factorial n. Factorial n is product of n natural numbers, is product of the n natural numbers. If you multiply 1 into 2 into 3, the entire product you can write as factorial n. Sometimes you can write this one as this symbol also. That also you can read as factorial n. So now I will discuss some more points here. The value of n factorial is 1 into 2 into 3 into and so on n. So this is product of n natural number. Suppose you want to take 1 factorial is 1, 2 factorial is 1 into 2, 3 factorial is 1 into 2 into 3. So 4 factorial is 1 into 2 into 3 into 4. But you have to remember the values also. 6 is 24. And 5 factorial is 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. That answer is 120. 6 factorial 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6. So this is gives 720. So these are the values you have to remember. So sometimes you can use directly with these values. So now some more points. N factorial you can write as n into n minus 1 factorial. So this you can extend n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 factor also can write as. So you can extend this one. Next, one more point you can remember. 0 factorial is always 1. This also you have to remember. So 0 factorial is 1. Just remember this one. So I hope understand these values. Next, we move to another concept. So there are two rules are there in this chapter. One is principle of addition, other one is principle of multiplication. What is called principle of addition? Principle of addition. So if an event E1 can occur in N1 ways, the event E2 can occur in N2 ways, third event E3 can occur in N3 ways, and so on. Further, if no two events can occur at the same time, then one of the event can occur in N1 plus N2 plus N3 and so on. The ways is called fundamental principle of addition. I will give an example this case. There are 10 boys and 20 girls in a class. In how many ways we can select a boy or girl to represent a class? You can select a boy or girl. That means you can select any one of the person. From total what? 10 plus 20, 30. That means 30 ways. So that means you can boy or girl. That means there is a work between the two things or is present. We can add the what things to get the total number of possibilities. So I hope understand this one. That is called principle of addition. Next. So fundamental principle of multiplication. If an event can be performed in n1 ways, second event which is independent of first can be performed in n2 ways, third event which is independent of first two can be performed in n3 ways, and so on. For any finite number of events, and so on means it is continuous. Then all the events can perform in a stated order is n1 into n2 into n3. You have to take the multiplication. So ways is called fundamental principle of multiplication. You can take the same example. So there are 10 boys and 20 girls in a class. In how many ways you can select boy and girl? You can select boy and girl. The first job is you can select a boy. Second part work is select a girl. So that means both are independent. So that means how many ways you can select a boy? 10 ways. How many ways you can select girl? 20 ways. So 10 into 20, 200 ways. In that case, we are using the fundamental principle of multiplication. I hope understand the difference between addition and multiplication. Next, what is permutation? So the basic thing is permutation means arrangement. Permutation means arrangement. That is simple thing. That means each of the different arrangements that can be made by taking some or all the number of things at a time is called a permutation. If you want, there are some objects are there, you can take few things or all the things and write the possible arrangements. So each arrangement we call as a permutation. I hope understand. Each of the different arrangement that can be made by taking some or all of the number of things at a time is called permutation. So because every time writing all the arrangements is very difficult. So now there is a formula for this one. The number of permutations of n different things taken r at a time is npr equal to n factorial by n minus r factorial. I hope understand here. the number of permutations of n different things taken r at a time is npr, that is n factorial by n minus r factorial. So there are n things are there, you can take r things and arrange it. The number of arrangements will be npr, that equal to n factorial by n minus r factorial. Suppose there are 3 objects are there, you can select 2 objects, it can be done 3p2 ways. So what is the answer? 3p2 means 3 factorial by 3 minus 2 factorial. 3 factorial is nothing but 6. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 factorial is 1. That means 6. That means the number of ways arranging 2 objects taken from 3 is 3p2. So that is nothing but equal to 6 only. So understand this one? Suppose I want to take all the objects. So that means that is nothing but npn. If I take all objects and arrangements will be npn. So npn is n factorial. According to formula, npn is n factorial by n minus n factorial. So n minus n factorial means that is 0 factorial. What I told 0 factorial is 1. Therefore, n factorial by 1 is n only. That is npn is n factorial. Please keep in mind the value of npn is n factorial. The value of npr is n factorial by n minus r factorial. Next, the value of np0 is 1. So how this comes means n factorial by n minus 0. So that means n factorial by n factorial gives 1 only. Next, np1 is n. So np2 is n into n minus 1. That means, so here suffix 2, you will get 2 factors. First factor is highest n, the next factor n minus 1. If you want to take np3, so that is n into n minus 1 into n minus 2. Take 3 factors from n. That is the rule of here again. For example, I will take one example. I want to take same 3p2 value. So with the help of this formula, 3p2 is nothing but 3 into 2. So we have 2 factors. 3 into what? 6. That gives the same answer. So you can use that method also to find the value of np2. I hope clear this one. So first you have to remember that how to apply formula. The number of permutations of n different things taken all at a time is npr equal to n factorial by n minus r factorial. So next, the number of permutations of n different things taken all means n at a time is n factorial. Suppose you can take, there are 5 boys are there. How many ways you can arrange in a row? 5 boys. So that is nothing but 5p5. That is 5 factorial. You can write directly. So there is a example for this. So let us understand the definition properly. So next, there are different conditions are there on solving the question. The number of permutations of n different things taken or at a time, and particular thing to be always included each arrangement. So suppose there are n objects are there. I am selecting r objects. There is one thing always include the required arrangement. Such case, the number of permutations are r into n minus 1 p r minus 1. I will take one example to understand easily. There are 3 objects are there. I can select 2 objects. Select 2 objects. You have to select. Select 2 objects. So in that, be always included. Select 2 objects. So B is always included. Always included. So that means B is always included means what are the possibilities? So AB, BA, BC and CB. So observe here, I am selecting two objects. B is always included. AB, BA, BC, CB. How many are there total? 4 are there. If I applying formula over here, formula how to apply. So what is R? I am selecting 2. 2 into, how many are there? 3 objects are there. 3 minus 1 P, 2 minus 1. That equal 2 into 2P1. 2P1 what? 2. 2 into 2, 4. 4 combinations will give here. So the total number of arrangements will be what? 4. So understand now? The number of permutations different and taken at a time when a particular thing is always included in each of the arrangement is R into n minus 1 PR minus 1. Here particular thing means here B is a particular thing is always included. So that is, I hope understand here. The number of permutations of n different things taken are at a time when a particular thing is never be there in the each of the arrangements. You have to delete that one from the total. So there are n things are there. So I don't want particular thing, you can remove. The remaining are n minus 1 the number of arrangements are n minus 1 PR only. I hope understand both the conditions. If particular thing included, if particular thing is not included, so that case the number of permutations are n minus 1 PR. Next is another important one. So permutations of like things. So whatever they discussed in the previous case, all the objects are different. So no object is repeated. Sometimes there is a letter which is repeated, there is a number which is repeated. So how to take the permutation? The number of permutations of n things taken at a time when p things are alike of one kind, q things are alike of second kind, and r things are alike of third kind, and so on. So the number of permutations you can take it as formula is given by, so n factorial means total number of objects factorial, because all are not distinct. So then how many are like things in n? So p are one type, p factorial, q are other type, q factorial or other type, r factorial, and so on. You can take it. If there is a one letter it is not repeated, say no type, because one factor always gives one only. For example, I will take mathematics. How the last question? How many ways you can arrange the letters of the word mathematics in all possible ways? So how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 11 objects are there. Out of 11 objects, there are some objects which are repeated. So M comes twice, and A comes twice, and T comes twice. Rest of them are different. So how many total? Total 11 letters are there. So in this case, number of permutations. So number of permutations equal to 11 factorial divided by like objects. So 2 factorial into 2 factorial into 2 factorial. So that is the rule of solving. I hope understand this example. If there are some like things are there, how to take the permutations. The previous formula NPR is formula only for if all the objects are distinct only. Here some objects also like objects, how to take the permutation. This is a formula for that. So I hope clear this one. Next, the number of functions that can be defined from a set containing r elements into a set containing n elements is n power r. So this is one formula. Number of what functions. So one set is r elements, other set is n elements. The number of functions, possible functions are n power r. You just remember formula. Next. So this is circular permutations. So before we discuss all the permutations are linear permutation. That means there are two types of permutations are there. One is linear permutations, other one is circular permutation. Linear permutation means arrange the objects in a row. So they should not mention about the row, means that's mentioned about the arrangement, that is always linear permutation. If they mentioned as circular permutations, that means around a circle. So that case, how to arrange the objects. So before going to that one, first take this one. The number of circular permutations of n different things taken all at a time is n minus 1 factorial. So the number of circular permutations of n different things taken all at a time is n minus 1 factorial. If you want to arrange the objects around a circle, first you can fix one position. So one position fixed means how many are left? N minus 1 things are there. So these n minus 1 things can be arranged either clockwise or anti-clockwise. That means the number of arrangements will be n minus 1 factorial. So if it is take clockwise, you are starting here and ending here. So total how many are there? N minus 1. The number of ways arranging is n factorial. I hope you have this one. The number of circular permutations of n different things taken all at a time is n minus 1 factorial. Suppose we are taking only few things. That case, the first case. The number of circular permutations of n different things taken r at a time. Before all at a time, here r at a time is npr by r only. npr by r. So this proofs and all not required. These are competitive. You have to remember some formulas. That's enough. So next, the number of circular permutations of n things taken at a time in one direction. Before this is the formula for two directions. So now if it is one direction means the number of circular permutation become off. So means whatever the formula here, that comes off only if you are following only one direction. If any direction means they are not mentioned direction, you can take npr by r. If they are mentioned a direction, you can take it as npr by 2r only. The same thing for this also, you get n minus 1 by 2 factorial. So the number of circular permutations of n things taken all the time in one direction is n minus 1 factorial by 2. I hope you get this one. So this is the way. Next. Next, another formula. The circular permutation, two types. One is directly n minus 1 factorial. If you follow one direction, half of them means n minus 1 factorial by 2. If you are taking few things, npr by r, f, both the directions. If one direction means npr by 2r only. Next, this is another just formula. Sum of numbers formed by taking all the given n digits excluding 0. So suppose there are numbers 2, 3, 4, 5 is there, for example. So I want to take the sum of all possible numbers using the digits. That means you will get the 4-digit numbers. Using all the digits means how much here? 4 factorial means 24. We will get a 24 numbers. The 24 numbers sum, what is the answer? Taking is very tough. That case there is a formula they define. What the formula means? Sum of all n digits means whatever the digits are there you can do. That means here how many are there? 4. So means 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 into n minus 1 factorial. How many are there? 4. 4 minus 1 what? 3 factorial into 1 1 1 n times. Here write 1 1 1. How many digits are there? 4 digits. That is the answer for the sum of all digits. So I hope understand. The formula is what here? The sum of the numbers formed by taking all the n digits equal to sum of the digits into n minus 1 factorial into 111 n times. That's the formula. For this example, so sum of all possible numbers formed by taking all the numbers with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is gives sum of the numbers into n minus 1 factorial into 111. Simplify to get the answer here. That's the value of sum of the all numbers. I hope understand. Suppose if the 0 is there in the given number, there is another formula. If 0 including that case, sum of all digits, that is common, into n minus 1 factorial into what? 111 r times minus n minus 2 factorial 111 r times. That is the formula I can remember. I hope clear this one. If 0 included, that just remember a formula. Suppose you are given 0, 2, 3, 4, use this formula. Next, sum of all odd digit number that can be taking given n digits. Suppose I want to select only few things and making a numbers and adding them will get a sum. That case without 0, what formula? Sum of all digits n minus 1 pr minus 1 into 111 r times only. This is common for all the cases. Sum of all digits into n minus 1 pr minus 1. We are taking r objects and making sum. These three terms you can remember. Sum of all digits into, before is n minus 1 factorial, here n minus 1 pr minus 1 into 111 r times. This is common. These two terms are common for this one. This will be depends on the if you are taking all the terms or few things. I hope clear this one. If 0 is there, one formula comes here. If including 0, the formula is same, term is common, the extra thing. I hope clear. This you have to memorize the formulas. So generally they won't ask many questions. If they ask the question means the first case only they will ask. Next, combination. So combination means selection. Combination means selection. What is permutation means arrangement. Here only selection. So there are group of students are there. How to select few members from there? That is called a selection. Just selection, no arrangement. Because their permutation means select and arrange. That is called permutation. Here combination means just only selections. A group or selection, the group or selection that can be made by taking some or all of the number of things is called a combination. Before what? Taking selection, arrangement, that is called permutation. A group or selection that can be made by taking some or all of the number of things is called combination. That means simply you can call as combination nothing but selections only. So now what is the formula? Before we got formula for number of permutations, that is NPR. Now the formula for the number of combinations means number of selections of n different things taken r at a time is NCR. So now, so this C stands for combination. C stands for combination means when you are solving question, there is a word selection is used. You have to use combination. The formula is NCR. So what is the formula for NCR? NCR equal to n factorial by n minus r factorial into r factorial. I hope this one. This you can write in terms of NPR also. I will write this one like this by r factorial. So that means numerator is what? NPR by r factorial. This is one of the condition here. So NCR is the direct formula. NCR can be written as in terms of what? NPR by R factorial. So observe this one. So NCR is lesser than the value of NPR. Why means NPR is divided by R factorial, we'll get NCR. So that means NPR gives more value. That means arrangements are more, selections are less only. Have you clear this one? That's the difference between permutation combinations. Clear? Next. There are some properties. The value of NCN is 1. There is NPN. Don't confuse about NPN and NCN. NPN is n factorial. So NCN is 1. NCN is 1. How this 1 means? If you apply formula n factorial by n minus n factorial into n factorial. So n factorial cancel. So n minus n is 0. 1 by 0 factor. That gives what? 1. That is NCN is 1. So same thing NC0 also 1. Any C0 is what? 1. Next, I already explained NCR can be written as NPR by R factorial. And you can add one more here. The R factorial can be written as NPR by NCR. Sometimes we are using this one. The ratio of NPR and NCR is equal to what? R factorial. So P is always numerator. So NPR by NCR equal to R factorial. Next, another property. So NCR can be written as NC n minus R. This is another most important property. So when you have to use this one, I want to take 9C 8 is there. This is equivalent to 9C 9 minus 8. So 9C 9 minus 8. 9C 9 minus 8 is nothing but 9C1. So you know how to take 9C1 is 9. If you want to take 9C8, you have this big formula. You have to reduce the suffix as using this formula NCR equal to NCN minus R. This becomes 9C1. So what is the value of NC1? NC1 is n. So that means, so here NC1 equal to 9C1 equal to 9. So that case we are using this property. This is a most important property. Next, another important property. NCR plus NCR minus 1 is n plus 1 CR. NCR plus NCR minus 1 is n plus 1 CR. So this case, what you observe means these two are equal. These two difference is 1. That case, the entire value is n plus 1 CR. So when you have to apply this formula, there is a term 5C4 plus 5C3 is there. The sum of these two things values equal to 5 becomes 6 because n becomes what? N plus 1. 6C. So among these two, which is greatest? 4. This is the answer for this one. 5C4 plus 5C3 equal to 5 plus 1 CR. R is what? This is biggest one among these two, which is greater than 2. So that's it to apply the formula. I hope understand. So when you're solving questions, anywhere you got this type of problems, you keep in mind I have to apply this formula to get the answer. Understand? Next. Got all the conditions? Next. Another important one. This is not much important. Second, this is important for us. First one not important. We're not using anywhere. So this we are using. The ratio of NCR and NCR minus 1 is n minus R plus 1 by R. The ratio of NCR and NCR minus 1. Suppose I want to take 24C5 by 24C4. So here n is common and this difference is what? 1. So in this case, the formula what? N minus R plus 1 by R. N is 24. R is 5 and 4, which is big? 5. 5 you can take as R by 5. So the value is 25 minus 5. 24 plus 1, 25 minus 5, 20. 20 by 5. The answer is what? 4. So you can easily get the answer with the help of this one only. I hope understand how to apply this formula. Next, another important thing is NCP equal to NCQ. So why I'm discussing all these one things means we have one more chapter which is binomial theorem. They're all these properties will come in the binomial theorem. They are no need to discuss. So you can use directly. So NCP equal to NCQ. What is the relation between them? That means these two may be equal. That is one job. Or the value of n equal to the value of n equal to sum of the suffixes. So that means these two are cases. Clear now? Before I told 9C8 is same as 9C what? 1. So that means if you add these two, 8 plus 1 what? 9. So that is 9 equal to 8 plus 1. This is the example for that. I hope clear this one. So next. So point to be remember what we discussed now. The number of ways in which R places can be filled with n objects when each of the objects may be repeated any number of times. So not lines, this is times. So the number of ways in which all places can be filled with n objects. Each object may be repeated any number of times. So that means, suppose there are places 1, 2, and so on are places. So take first object that can be filled any one of the places n ways. Second object n ways. Third object n ways. Repetition allowed n ways, and so on n. That means n into and so on what r times. So this value is n power r. This is the most important property here. When the repetition is allowed, before all we did problems without repetition. Without repetition, the number of arrangements what npr. With repetition, number of permutations are what n power r. So this is for without repetition. Without repetition. So without repetition, that case npr. With repetition, n power r formula. That's the difference between both. So next, the number of ways permitting n objects along a circle means circular permutations already explained n minus 1 factorial. So if you follow only in one direction, that is n minus 1 factorial by 2. That means clock and anti-clock arrangements if you take. So the number of ways arranging objects along a circle when clock and anti-clock direction arrangements are alike means same type. That case you can take n minus 1 factorial by 2. So that means if you do whatever the arrangement you can do clockwise and anti-clockwise which are same, that case the number of arrangements will be half of the arrangements, that is n minus 1 factorial means n minus 1 factorial by 2. So when this will happen? So when you make a Garland, the type of questions we can take it as n minus 1 factorial by 2. Why means if you are looking at the Garland, so whatever the clockwise and anti-clockwise is same. That's why that case the number of permutations will become n minus 1 factorial by 2. Keep in mind the number of necklace or garland that can be formed with n beads or n flowers is nothing but n minus 1 factorial by 2. So when you form a necklace or garland with objects, so the number of ways arranging is n minus 1 factorial by 2. Only circular permutations n minus 1 factorial. If particular case, if you form a garland, a necklace, so the order will be same. That means clockwise arrangement, anti-clockwise arrangements are same. Therefore, the number of arrangements will be n minus 1 factorial by 2. So here also one more. The number of ways arranging the persons along a round table, no two persons has same neighbors. Both are different. In that case, the number of arrangements will be n minus 1 factorial by 2. So just remember the formula. But major thing, circular permutations n minus 1 factorial. Particular case, form a garland and different or necklace. That case n minus 1 factorial by 2. That is enough only. So many concepts we get confusion. So I hope understand everything. So next, here some more points. The number of ways in which m different objects of one kind, n different objects of other kind can be arranged in a row so that no two objects of first kind are together. So in this case, the number of arrangements is n factorial into n plus 1 pm. So the second kind are together. The second kind are together means m factorial into m plus 1 pm. Sorry, this I think this is n factorial. N factorial into m plus 1 pm only. So understand here? Next. This is important for us. This is important. The number of combinations of n different objects. Before you did permutations, here combinations taken r at a time. M particular objects always included. M particular objects always included. That is n minus m c r minus m. Not included n minus 1 n minus m cr. If you remove the things, you can take it n minus m cr. So if that always included n minus m cr minus m. When you're solving problems, I will explain the problems later. Just you can remember, because in this topic, logic is important more than applying formulas. Only some cases formulas are useful. The remaining all cases, you have to apply the logic. So next, this is important. What I am telling, that you have to highlight properly. Some of the values of nc0, nc1, nc2 and so on, ncn is 2 power n. So the sum of this we call as binomial coefficient. Sum of the binomial coefficient is 2 power n. The number of ways selecting at least one object from n objects. At least one object. It can be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. That means this case, how this comes is one object or two objects and so on. All objects. At least one. Means this value 1. But you know, nc1 NC0 plus NC1 plus NC2 and so on, NCn is 2 power n. I shift this NC0 right side to get 2 power n minus NC0. That means this one answer. So NC0 is 1, that is 2 power n minus 1. That means number of ways selecting at least one object from n objects, you can take directly 2 power n minus 1 instead of solving NC1, NC2 and NCn. You take the direct answer. I hope clear now. So this is another important. What you have to remember, this is important for us. So let us take the next. Here also another important point, the number of ways in which m plus n things can be divided into two groups containing m and n things. There are m plus n different things are there. In that, m is one type, n is other thing. So how to make into two groups? So that formula is m plus n factorial by m factorial into n factorial. So like things we did before, there are mathematics or you can take, there are m2s and m2a's like that. Then here only two things are there. So the number of ways arranging in two groups is m plus n factorial by m factorial into n factorial. So same thing, the number of ways dividing two m things, both are like m equal to n, that case only. So the number of permutations in this case is 2m factorial by m factorial whole square. The before case, m equal to n case, this will come here. Here m equal to n, this combination will come here only. So here the distribution can be made between two groups. So when the distribution, this is one particular case, cannot be made in between two groups, between two persons, that case the extra will become 2 factorial. Extra 2 factorial will come here because the objects, the required arrangements become off. That is the logic. So when this will happen means between the groups you can do 2m factorial by m factorial whole square. So that means we are taking cannot be between two groups, means between persons we are doing distribution. That case you can take the formula. I hope clear. So this is the formula you have to remember, because when we are solving questions only get an idea about where you have to apply which formula. So I hope clear this one. Next, another last one of these permutations, the number of divisors of a particular a number is given. They're asking how many divisors of the particular number. So there is a formula for this one. So what the formula means, alpha 1 plus 1, alpha 2 plus 1 and so on, alpha k plus 1. So write the given number as a prime factors first. What here? Prime factors. So what I'm writing, n equal to p1 power alpha 1, p2 power alpha 2 and so on, pl power, pk power alpha k. So the number of ways, number of divisors equal to alpha 1 plus 1, alpha 2 plus 1 and alpha k plus 1 only comes here. How this comes? Where p1, p2 are distinct prime numbers, you can take prime factor n for the given number. For example, if you take n equal to 360, so 360 is 10 into 36. 10 write as prime factor 2 into 5. So 36 you can write as 6 square or 9 into 4 you can take. So this finally 2 into 4, 8, it is 2 cube, 3 square into 5 power 1. So this is the way to factorize first thing. Later you can go for applying the formula. So what is formula? Alpha 1 plus 1, alpha 2 plus 1 and so on, alpha k plus 1. Here alpha 1 is 3. The number of divisors means 3 plus 1 into 2 plus 1 into 1 plus 1. Number of divisors means 4 into 3 into 2 means 24 divisors for n. The number of divisors of 360 are what? 24. I hope understand this one. So how to apply method? So first write the prime factorization and take the powers of the prime numbers as alpha 1, alpha 2 and alpha 3. The number of divisors, that gives 3 plus 1 into 2 plus 1 into 1 plus 1. So and simplify to get the value that gives the number of divisors of a given number. So next, another formula, sum of divisors. This is a formula for sum of divisors. Method is same only, but write a prime factorization. So if you add all the numbers, what is sum? This is the method. Sum of all divisors is a formula. p1 power alpha 1 plus 1 minus 1 by p1 minus 1, and similarly p2 second if the order is there. Clear now? These are another important combinations. Next comes to probability. So introduction to probability. So probability everyone learned in the second year. So I can go to directly. The set of all possible outcomes of a experiment is called a sample space. You know sample space. What is called sample space? Set of all possible outcomes of a random experiment is called a sample space and denoted by S. You know everyone. The elements of S are called sample points, simple points, and subsets of S only are called events. The elements of S are called sample events, simple events. The elements of S are called simple events, and subset of S is called an event. What is called an event? Which is subset of S only. For example, you can take sample spaces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. While rolling a die, the sample points are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are simple events. And suppose I take an event. In events are denoted by using capital letters. Is an event which has even number, 2, 4, 6 are even number. So here clearly E is subset of S. But any subset of sample space is called an event. Any subset of S is called an event. Subset is nothing but an event. I hope clear this one. Next. Phi is null set. Null set is subset of every set. So that case we call as impossible event. If it is not possible to take the event, that is called impossible event. For example, on rolling a die, getting a number 7 on it, it is impossible event. So what is the maximum possibility? 6. So that means we call as impossible event. It is not possible to do experiment. Such case we can call as impossible event. So S is subset of S. Every set is subset of itself. That case we call as a sure event. Understand? Next. If E is subset of S, E contains more than one element, then E is called a compound event. If it has only one element, that's simple event. More than one event, that is called compound event. Next. What is the definition of probability? If E is any event associated with an experiment, outcomes of which are equally likely, then the probability of event is denoted by P of E and defined as P of E equal to number of sample points in E by number of sample points of S. That means we are finding probability of particular event. Event means which is subset of what? S. The probability of E is number of sample points related to E by total number of sample points in a sample space. That is the definition of probability. So now next, P of S equal to 1. So S is subset of itself. So that means S means number of sample points in S by number of sample points in S. Both are cancelled, gives what? 1. P of pi equal to 0. The probability of impossible event is what? Always what? 0. Probability of sure event is 1. Probability of impossible event is what? 0. So the probability of any event always lies between 0 and 1. So sometimes when you're solving questions, they give options. If any option which is given more than 1, you should not take. That is a probability of a particular thing. The probability of any event always lies between 0 and 1. That condition is important for us. Next, so there is a formula for addition theorem. So this addition theorem, P of A union B equal to P of A union B equal to P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. Sorry, this is not and it's or. So means A or B means A union B. A and B means A intersection B. This you have to remember. A union B, A intersection. This is the difference. And means intersection, or means union. So that means A or B. A union B equal P of A plus P of B minus P of A intersection B. Next, P of A minus B. A but not B. This case P of A minus P of A intersection B. All these formulas are most important on solving problems. P of A minus B is P of A minus P of A intersection B. So this is called addition theorem. Addition theorem on probability. So next, if A and B are mutually exclusive events, what is the meaning of mutually exclusive events? Means there is no common elements in A and B. Such event we call as mutually exclusive events. If there is no common element, intersection always 0. If intersection is 0, the probability of A union B is P of A plus P of B. If A and B are mutually exclusive events, P of A union B is P of A plus P of B. In this case, P of A intersection B is 0. Next, if A is any event, A dash is event not A. That is not happen. Just opposite. So P of A dash is nothing but 1 minus P of A. Sometimes you can write as A bar also. P of A bar is not A. So means 1 minus P of A. I hope clear this one. Next. First, what is addition theorem? What is how to find difference? Probability of difference of two events. P of A minus B is P of A minus P of A intersection B. If A and B are mutually exclusive events, A P of A or B equal to P of A plus P of B. Next, probability of A complement union B complement, that equal to A union B whole complement. So there are De Morgan laws are there. A union B whole complement is nothing but A intersection B whole complement. Similarly, A complement intersection B complement is nothing but A union B whole complement. This is the De Morgan laws. We have it is there in set theory. So we can take this formulas. So that means this value is equivalent to complement of intersection. Here union means right side intersection. Same thing, intersection means right side union. The whole complement comes here. Then how to calculate whole complement? 1 minus P of A union B. Here 1 minus P of, P of A intersection B, 1 minus P of A union B. So A dash union B dash represent neither A nor B. Neither A nor B. That case you are using A dash union B dash. Next, what when you A dash intersection, none of them occurs. That case you can take A dash intersection B dash. So next, when a coin is tossed n times or n coins are tossed once, the probability of each simple event getting head or getting tail, that is 2 power 1 by 2 power n. So when tossing coin, what you get? Either head or tail, that is 2 power n. The tossing coin getting head, what? One time tossing coin means getting head 1 by 2, tail also 1 by 2. If you're tossing 2 times, so getting head means 1 by 2 square, like that you can take it here. So when a dice are rolled n times, n dice are rolled n once, the probability of each simple event is 1 by 6 power n. Same like that, 1 by 2 power n, here 1 by 6 power n. Getting one head 1 by 2, getting one number is 1 by 6. So any one number means 1 by 6. Rolling a die. I hope clear this one. So these are simple things, already you know all the things. Next, independent events and dependent events and conditional property. This is important for us. If E1, E2 are two events associated with random experiment, then the probability of E1 given that E2 has occurred is called conditional probability. But here probability of E1 given that E2 has occurred, that means E2 already occurred, that means happening of one event after the happening of other event is called conditional probability. That means P of E1 given E2 or P of E1 by E2 and is given by the formula P of E1 by E2 equal to P of E1 intersection E2 by P of E2. Similarly, you can define P of E2 by E1 also. P of E2 by E1 is P of E1 intersection E2 divided by P of E1. Here what is denominator? E1, denominator comes E1. E2 means P of E2 comes here. Numerator is common. P of E1 intersection E2 by P of E2. First case, P of E1 intersection E2 by P of E1. This is called the conditional probability. That means probability of occurrence of E1 after the occurrence of E2. Probability of occurrence of E1 after the occurrence of E2. That is a condition here. Clear now? That is next. Two events E1, E2 associated with the experiment are said to be independent if and only if P of E1 intersection E2 equal to P of E1 into P of E2. So that means if they are independent means it does not depends on the other. That case P of E1 by E2 is nothing but P of E1, P of E2 by E1 nothing but P of E2. If they are independent events, P of E1 intersection E2 is P of E1 into P of E2. This is an important condition if they are independent events. Next, if A and B are any two events of S, then P of A bar by A equal to 1 minus P of A by B. How this comes means P of A bar intersection B, the whole divided by P of B according to formula. Next step, A bar, I give formula P of E1 intersection E2 bar is P of E1 minus means here. So this gives P of B, I will add here P of A bar intersection B by P of B. Next, this you can write as P of B minus P of A intersection B, the whole divided by P of B. Now divide it separately. P of B cancel. So this gives 1 minus P of A intersection B, the whole divided by P of B. That means P of A intersection by P of B is nothing but P of A by B. So that means finally you can write P of A bar given B equal to 1 minus P of A by B only. Here A bar, no bar. Just that is P of A by B. Sometimes you can use this one directly also. So next, E1, E2 are independent events. E1, this C means complement means non-occurrence of E1. E2, E1, E2 cap, E2 bar, E1 complement, E2 complement also independent events. If E1, E2 are independent, E1 complement and E2 are independent. E1 complement and E2 complement also independent. That's an important condition here. So this is important property. and this is important property for us. I hope clear this one. Next, this one formula P of E1 union E2 given E is P of E1 by E, P of E2 by E minus P of E1 rejection E2 given E only. It's just formula like addition theorem. So if addition theorem with combination of conditional property. I hope clear this one. That is just remember the formula. Next, Bayes theorem. So this is very important, Bayes theorem. Before that, first total probability theorem. Total probability H1, H2, H3, Hn from a set of n mutually exclusive and exhaustive events is any other event which is associated with H1, H2, H3 and Hn. The probability of E is nothing but, so sigma means sum of the probabilities of P of E1 given Hi into P of Hi. So that means in this case, I will give simple. There are events H1, H2, like that H3. All are mutual exclusive. There is no common elements. Like the things are there. It comes like. So there is a event which is connected with all the events. That is E. So in this case, probability of E equal to, so what happened? Probability of H1 already happened into probability of what? E given H1. Understand? With H1 plus probability of H2 into probability of E given H2. So keep on doing. The last is probability of Hn into probability of E given Hn. The entire thing you can call as total probability theorem. Adding all means sigma. Sigma means sum of all probabilities. That is P of H1 into P of E given H1. So probability of H2 into P of E given H2. Add all the things to get the probability of the entire event E. That means E is connected with all the events which are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Mutually exclusive means no common elements of H1, H2, H3. So this is total probability theorem. And particular case, P of Hi by E is nothing but P of E given Hi into P of Hi by total probability. That is nothing but Bayes theorem. I hope everyone knows Bayes theorem properly. So I no need to explain much. So how to apply Bayes theorem from the total probability. Clear this one? Next, last part of the probability concept, random variable. A random variable is a function whose domain is sample space of an experiment, and range is the subset of the set of all real numbers. So for solving this question, we need what is domain, what is range. So range is subset of set of all real numbers. So random variable is a function whose domain is sample space of an experiment, and range is subset of the real numbers. So now in this case, we have to prepare one table. You can take the distribution table. A random variable assume values with probabilities respectively, then is called a probability distribution function. So that means a random variable assumes values with probabilities. So that means x is the range of experiment. It has elements x1, x2, x3 and so on, xn, and the corresponding probabilities p1, p2, p3, pn. So there are some conditions are there for the distribution table. So in the distribution table, these are the elements corresponding probabilities. The sum of the probabilities always equal to 1. That you know from the second year. It is a most important condition. P1, P2 plus P3 and so on should be equal to 1. Because sum of the probabilities of all the elements of x should be equal to 1. That is a basic condition which you require. If that is not happen, it is not a random variable. Clear now? That is next. So that is the point what I discussed. Sum of the probabilities must be equal to 1. And mean of a random variable. Mean is xi into p of xi. That is called mean of a random variable. And variance is a formula for variance. So mean is denoted by e of x, or sometimes we can define by mu also. So variance sigma xi square p of I minus mean square. That is nothing but variance for. This is a formula for variance. So variance you can denote by sigma square also. You can write as, or PR of x. Both are symbols you can use commonly for variance. Now what is standard deviation? SD. SD equal to root of the variance, root of the sigma square. So SD equal to sigma. That means root of variance only. I hope understand. Standard deviation nothing but root of variance. Clear? So how to find mean? You know, xi into p of xi sigma. That is sum of the elements of x corresponding probabilities equal to mean. And variance formula, this one you have to remember. And SD is root of variance. These are most important on solving CET and mains exam. I hope clear? That is. So next, binomial distribution. Before general distribution, random variable distribution. Now binomial distribution. So in this case, what if an experiment repeated n times, the successive trials being independent of one another, the probability of R successes out of n trials called Bernoulli trials is given by formula NCR P power R Q power n minus R. So that means P of x equal to R equal to NCR P power R Q power n minus R. So that means probability of R success equal to P of x equal to R NCR P power R Q power n minus R. What is P? P is probability of success in a single trial. That's important. In a single trial, Q equal to failure means 1 minus P. So and R can take the values from 0 to n, any values. If I want for 3 success means R equal to 3, 4 success means R equal to 4. You know very well about the binomial distribution. This is the most important concept in PU, but it's important for commutative also. Next, time same results. So mean of binomial distribution is NP. For general distribution different. Here mean of binomial distribution is NP. So that means you can denote by mu equal to NP. That is here. Now variance equal to NPQ. So sigma square is NPQ. That is called formula for variance. So SDM is root of variance. Root of NPQ gives what gives standard deviation. These are the concepts which are useful to solve the problems in permutation combination probability. So now we will discuss the problems in another video. I hope everyone clear about the concepts. You go through once again video and recap all the points and solve the problems. So thank you.